AFCON 2023. It was so fun to watch. One of my favorite tournaments I've ever watched in football. Let us know if you agree with us down below in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video. How are you doing, Breton? You're good?
Oh, I'm feeling great, man. After that Cote d'Ivoire win, this is a team that, man, oh man, had its highs, had its lows. I'd say even though they won the tournament, they probably had more lows than they had highs. They had a standby coach take them to the final. They had a net zero goal differential. I mean, you look at this best 11 that we're going to walk through, Alex, and I'm in full agreement with you. What a continental competition. But you look at this best 11 and all the names that you would have expected to be on there at the beginning of the tournament, they're not there, sir.
Especially Moroccan players. Especially Moroccan players. Algeria was the biggest upset of AFCON, no doubt in my mind. And for the favoritism, the golden generation of Morocco, I certainly expected more. And don't tell me because I'm Portuguese, I didn't want them to succeed. I respect the greatness that I watched in the World Cup, but it was disappointing in AFCON, no doubt.
But let's just really quickly list them, because we're going to talk a lot about Nigeria, finalists, right? One step away, probably had the best team, and the best showing up until the final. You are not going to see on this best 11, very likely not going to see Victor Osimhen. You're not going to see Mo Salah. You're not going to see Achraf Hakimi. You're not going to see Sadio Mane.
Hakimi,
you're probably,
Hakimi might be. Yes.
Maybe. Okay. All right. We'll see. Well, there's going to be no Riyad Mahrez. In fact, I think Algerian fans are still trying to find where Riyad Mahrez went to in this. You're not even going to see upstarts like Kudus or Inaki or Amrabat or Onana or Girassi. I don't know where he was either. Even Pop Matar Sarr is not probably going to show up in this best 11. But all those names, I mean, this AFCON and African football in general is getting deep. Deep talent, wonderful prospects, wonderful vets to be brought into clubs, whether it's Ligue 1, whether it's the Bundesliga. There are names that people need to take risks on. And I just got to say, from a sheer entertainment perspective, I wish it was covered more in the States, but I was definitely entertained. And that in and of itself makes me so psyched for a tournament like what's going to be here in the States, like Copa America this coming summer, or heck, I mean, to go even more granular, the new and hopefully improved Club World Cup in the future that we're going to see. So AFCON, you have outdone yourself. It was a great show.
And AFCON 2023 had Angola, Cape Verde, countries that are newbies in the quarterfinals and semifinals type of situations. And it was so good to see these new African countries rising, okay? Players like that Jovan Cabral in Cape Verde, Gelson Dalla that might be in our 11s. But yes, the fact that this AFCON was watched by 2 billion people. AFCON has lots of interest throughout the world. I loved to see AFCON every single game. I didn't, but I watched the majority. Super Bowl had 200 million people, and the Euros had 365 million. So AFCON is surpassing the billion mark in terms of viewership. That is bold numbers. And for me, in terms of pure entertainment, only the World Cup beats AFCON. AFCON for me is more entertaining to watch right now than Copa America. Because Copa America, it's Argentina, Brazil, or Uruguay in the next one. I think Bielsa will surprise a lot of people. But let me know. And Nigeria, because they went to the final of this AFCON, in the world ranking went from 43rd to now 28th. And I fully expect this golden generation to do a lot of damage with Victor Osimhen, with Lookman, with Calvin Bassey. This is the start of maybe a golden generation of Nigeria, but they gotta win AFCON, okay? They gotta win AFCON. So, Breton, what is your defense of the best 11 of AFCON?
Okay, well, You already mentioned the crux of Nigeria, right? I'm not going to name the goalkeeper in this 11, but a big shout out is definitely recommended for Stanley Nwabali.
True.
But the best goalkeeper at AFCON was the
Bafana, Bafana.
captain of Bafana Bafana. It was Ronwen Williams, part of a ridiculous Mamelodi Sundowns core. In fact, I'm going to name several more in this best 11. I think we're not doing it justice how well South Africa's showing was. They last won, and the only time they've ever won was in 1996. I'm going to say it. African football has changed since 1996. It has gotten deeper. It has gotten more talented. It has gotten more developed. I'm going to say it. I think this third place finish at this AFCON was more impressive than their 1996 win. That's weird. It's very weird to say. It feels counterintuitive, but it was very impressive. And South African football is something Bafana Bafana needs to invest more. They have the population. They have the demographics. I believe they actually do have the talent as well. Mamelodi Sundowns is in this because they've won the last 6 in a row. They are the crux of this South African success, and I want to see them do well. Anyway, I got off on a tangent.
Never forget Benny McCarthy. South African legend. I grew up watching Porto with a deadly McCarthy. That player was so good, and he's being important right now for the Man United future in terms of forwards. He's a part of the coaching staff of Erik ten Hag at Man United. What a legend.
And South Africa also did it this AFCON without two guys, one that I see on a regular basis in MLS with Minnesota, Bongo Kulali, and the other one, Lyle Foster, who plays for Burnley, who is kind of their young, that's part of their young future. I want to see Bafana Bafana use this as a springboard into better performances in African football, especially with 2026 World Cup qualifying. So anyway, back to my AFCON best 11. Let's start with a defense, as you asked me about 25 minutes ago. My goalkeeper is Ronwen Williams, captain of South Africa. My left back is going to be Arthur Masuaku. He's at Besiktas now, but he was at West Ham, so Hammers know him very well. My center back pairing is Chancel Mbemba, so half DR Congo, baby. And the other center back has to be the Golden Ball winner of the tournament. Also scored quite a few goals for Nigeria, but was their consistent performer in William Troost Ekong. And then my right back, Chelsea, Cobham represent, Ola Aina is my right back for Nigeria. And for those that don't know him, he's one of the OG original pieces of the Chelsea Loan Army. And he has still not fully found his feet. He's at Nottingham Forest now, but it is always a privilege to see him play. Always wonderful to see him play well for Nigeria. So, Masuaku, Mbemba, Troost Ekong, and Aina.
Interesting choices. My best defense of AFCON 2023 has Ronwen Williams in goal, Bafana goalkeeper. I have Masuaku at left back. I've got Mbemba with Calvin Bassey and Hakimi at the right. Even though Morocco was a disappointment, Hakimi was still the only star that shined for me, okay, in the poor displays. So, yeah, that is my defense. Now, I have subs. I have not subs. I have snubs, okay, in this 11 because it's very hard to choose between the Ivory Coast key midfield and the Nigeria key midfield too. And even a South African, undisputed one of the best players of AFCON, Mokoena, okay? Mokoena for me was the best player of South Africa next to Ron Williams in the AFCON. But I might not have him in the best 11, okay? So my best 11... My best midfield of AFCON 2023, I have Onyeka of Nigeria. I was shocked with how good he was in AFCON. I've got Sekou Fofana because the display, the quality, it's there. It's fully there. And my other player is Franck Kessié. Franck Kessié is the key for Ivory Coast to win AFCON. Franck Kessié was crucial towards Milan winning the Scudetto in 2022. Kessié was so important for Barca to win La Liga in 2023. And now Franck Kessié was so important for the Ivory Coast to win AFCON in 2024. So he's a legend in the making for his country, and at club level, he's quite underrated in my view. So it's Onyeka, Sekou Fofana, and Kessié. I'm sleeping on Serri, Jean-Michel Serri, and Mokoena.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw Mokoena in there. Teboho Mokoena, again, part of the Mamelodi Sundown core in this. So he is in my midfield. But I'm in full agreement in the AFCON Best 11 midfield to have two Ivorians. And Seri is the odd man out for me, just like you. It is Sekou Fofana, and it is Franck Kessié, who, like you just mentioned, has this penchant for stepping up when it is most needed, and that is exactly what wound up happening. We have no Ivorian defenders in this. We have midfielders in this because, frankly, Franck Kessié, Lee, they are the only ones, right, that were able to dig the Ivorians out from the depths of hell and back into the knockout rounds, and just skating by the skin of their teeth. And then they put in a relatively masterful, great, determined knockout round win in their home country. That definitely helped too. And Franck Kessié, Sekou Fofana, Seri, if they were not there, obviously this would not have happened. Ivorians would not be lifting the trophy. I think they're still celebrating, just like Travis Kelce is still celebrating, probably still drunk from the Super Bowl win the other day. But listen, I think Franck Kessié is unloved, underrated, and he winds up at wonderful clubs, and yet I still don't think he's gotten his just dues. And I would love for Côte d'Ivoire once again, which this was a tale of two halves, right, in this AFCON. One where you saw their coach sacked, and their U23 coach took over. One where you saw Ivorian, understandably so, press-credentialed Ivorian press basically getting belligerent with their players, trying to get answers as to what the heck is going on. And then you have them come out of the depths and win this thing and lift this trophy. All right, where are we going now, right? Where are we going now, Côte d'Ivoire? 3 championships, 3 times AFCON winners. This one feels different because the majority of their core is young, is very young and just building, and there's so much potential here. So it all starts with this midfield. I know Sekou Fofana is not that young, but it all starts with this midfield, and that's why it's very, very easily you gotta give Côte d'Ivoire the midfield here.
For sure. And until now, we agree that Ronwen Williams, Masuaku, Mbemba, Sekou Fofana, and Kessié must be in the best AFCON of 2023. Let us know if you agree with us until now, okay? And you're talking about the path of Ivory Coast. The path of Ivory Coast towards winning AFCON 2023 almost reminded me a bit of Portugal in Euro 2016. A bit of the back door, a bit of a manager problem because nobody here liked Fernando Santos, but they were a lot of perseverance and the commitments, a lot of hearts, a lot of hunger, and Portugal won it and Ivory Coast won it. So I was always like, I was rooting for them in the final, okay? Because they had an inspirational story that I'm sure we're going to talk more about it when we talk about the forwards.
We are, but before we get to the forwards, I have to tell you, I mean, they had 0 goal differential, right? I mean, that's how weird this tournament was. They won the damn tournament, and they had 0 goal differential, right? But a fun little fact for you, for any Barca fans here, and I'm pulling this off of, I forget the X username, but Ivory Coast has won AFCON 3 times, Alex. In 1992, they won. Barcelona won the Champions League in 1992. Ronald Koeman scored the game winner. You had Pep Guardiola on the field. You had Hristo Stoichkov. You had Michael Laudrup in the 11. Johan Cruyff as the boss. What a time. What a time. I was very young then. The second time Ivory Coast won was in 2015. Post, if I'm not mistaken, Didier Drogba.
After.
Barcelona won the Champions League. in 2015.
So
You had Leo Messi, you had Busquets, you had Suarez, you had no Xavi until the 78th minute. I'm just saying, they win their third in 2024. If Barca wants any excitement, they're still in the running for the Champions League coming up. Our next segment, which will be posted in a day or so, Barcelona. I mean, if we're following the whatever law this is, hey, I put them up there as weird kind of non-scientific favorites for the Champions League, huh?
it's a weird coincidence, true. And it's so weird that
All
Cote
coincidence.
d'Ivoire wins Ivory Coast. The first AFCON after Didier Drogba retires too. And Drogba's last final, never forgets, okay, that he was in the final of AFCON in his last game. So let us know if you think Barca's going to win the Champions League because of this crazy coincidence. But my forwards of AFCON of 2023, I've got Lookman. That was absolutely key for Nigeria. It wasn't Osimhen. It was Lookman scoring those goals. I have Gelson Dalla that had 5 goals, 2 assists. And look, he was the hero of Angola that were in the quarterfinals for the first time. And I've got Simon Adingra at the left.
There you go.
The wonder kid of the tournaments. And that was clutch for Ivory Coast. And I hope to see him more at Brighton in the Premier League. So that's my trio of forwards.
FC Norgeland, Right to Dream represent Simon Adingra and Brighton, Alex, are doing it once again. I mean, they're signing Ibrahim Osman, another 19-year-old, this one a Ghanaian, a winger as well.
True.
And Brighton's bringing him in, and Adingra and Osman. God, I love Brighton's transfer policy. Anyway, to my AFCON best 11, I'm going to agree with a lot of what you just said. My front trio, I'm stealing that word from you. I'm going to put Adingra on the left wing. We're just making room for Lookman and Adingra. But best young player of the tournament next to Senegal's Lamine Camara, who actually won it. But his heroics, obviously, are the only reason that the Ivory Coast lifted the trophy. 2 ridiculous assists, a last minute, what was that, an equalizer early on in the round of 16. Beautiful stuff. But at striker, I have to put the actual Golden Boot winner. I got to put Emilio Nsue. Emilio Nsue, if you don't know, he plays in the 3rd tier of Spanish football.
Yes.
With Intercity, and I don't even think he plays at striker. We said this once before, but the equatorial Ghanaian striker, older journeyman, deserves his spot in the 11 for scoring fast and scoring often and getting Equatorial Guinea, if I'm not mistaken, right, into the round of 16, which is pretty dang awesome. And on the right side, flip to you, right? I know we can flip these either way. I also have to have Ademola Lookman, Charlton Athletic represent there. But Lookman was consistently good, consistently a threat all tournament, even while Victor Osimhen was kind of, I wouldn't say absent, but he kind of was absent, as you mentioned.
He was.
But we do really need to mention, like, Ademola Lookman couldn't really get it done in the Premier League, and I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. And then he went on loan to Fulham. He was at RB Leipzig. He was at Everton, right? And it just never really clicked for him until he got to Gasparini land, until he got to Atalanta. And at Atalanta, he has been an absolute revelation. And I have to draw parallels right now to a certain want-away from AC Milan named Charles de Ketelaere, who's doing the exact same dang thing. And Ademola Lookman is like the beginning stages of it. We saw it early on with Scamacca, too, coming from West Ham and going to Atalanta. You had early success. So Gasparini's a little bit of a god in that sense. But Ademola Lookman is somebody I can't wait to see in a World Cup setting. I mean, at all. I'm so excited to see. First, Nigeria has to qualify. But I love the idea of him hitting those wings hard in the United States, in a few years' time. So anyway, it's Adingra, Nsue, and Lookman is my front 3.
Very interesting, Brendan. Both our AFCON best 11s have 7 players in common. The goalkeeper, Ronwen Williams, Masuaku, Mbemba, Sekou Fofana, Frank Kessier. Adamala Lukman, and we agree on Simon Adringra at left wing, okay? It's very interesting. And tell us, do you agree? Do you disagree with our picks? Are they the right ones? Are they the wrong ones? But let us know down below. So my AFCON Best 11 of 2023, I've got Ronwin Williams in goal. I have Masuaku, Mbemba, Calvin Bassi, and Hakimi in my defense. My midfield has Onienka, Sekou Fofana, and Kessié. I'm sorry, Mokoena and Seri. And my forwards is Adamala Lukman, Adingra, and Gelson Dalla, the Prince of Angola. Continua, Gelson Dalla.
Yeah, and we just mentioned Simon Adingra, right? And yet, as somebody that they would not have been able to win this AFCON without him, but I don't remember Adingra scoring the goal that won it all. And that would have to be Seb Haller, right? We're talking about a former West Ham man and Masuaku, former West Ham man and Seb Haller, for hopefully getting back to Dortmund form as well. But come on, talk about what that man has been through. Testicular cancer, being out of football, having to get back into shape, right after making a big high-profile move to Dortmund. And here he is, a little over a year later, I guess. And he's lifting the trophy in his home country in Abidjan. And you couldn't be happier for the man. He's not in the 11, but those types of stories is what this is all about, in my opinion. So my AFCON Best 11, we agree. Goalkeeper Ronwin Williams, South Africa. My back four is Masuaku, Congo. Mbembo, Congo. Trustakong, Nigeria, Golden Ball winner. And Ola Aina from Nigeria as well. My midfield is Seko Fofana. I am going to put Teboho Makoena from Bafana, and Franck Kessié from Cote d'Ivoire, main man for them. And then up top, Simon Adingra. Striker's got to be the Golden Boot winner, Emilio Nsue. And my right wing is Ademola Lookman, Nigeria. And as just a quick follow-up, Alex, Congo. With everything going on in their country right now, Congo's got a bright future, and one that I think probably needs a little more attention. What we did not necessarily see, we didn't see Bakambu on fire, right? We didn't see Simon Banza on fire yet. I'm going to say it, yet. I think that they do have a core, Yohan Wissa, right, who plays for Brentford. I really do feel that Congo, if they can get past the World Cup qualifying weird loss to Sudan, I really do feel DR Congo has what it takes to be a fun, new African team to be coming out into the 2026 World Cup. And I hope it happens because they've got a list of players that I enjoy watching, a list of tough tacklers. And Banza is a guy that I'm just waiting to take off in the international setting. It hasn't yet happened. It's happened in Liga Portugal, but it has not happened in that setting just yet. So had to bring that up as well. But all in all, man, what a tournament. Right?
I think Banza has like 13, 14 Primera Liga goals this season. So it'll be very interesting to see how he plays when he comes back from AFCON. And Masuaku and Mbemba are two Congo players we have in the best 11. So the future is bright. Let us know what you think of AFCON. Don't forget to like this video for more videos just like this. And thank you for going bold, another video with FC Wonderkid.